Thanks, Karine. The LA Times said that their reporter did not submit any questions in advance of yesterday's press conference. So to people who saw that pocket card, can you explain how that ended up there and why the president needed something like that?
So just to step back, and I'm actually glad you asked that question.
Come on, Karine. We know darn well you are not glad she asked that question. In fact, I'm sure you've been dreading that question because everyone's been talking about this.
Clearly, I would let the reporter for Los Angeles Times speak for herself. It is not surprising that yesterday we would anticipate questions that he did receive, right, on the visit with the South Korean president, as the South Korean president was standing to his right, or about 2024. That was completely expected, or about the debt ceiling, which he took questions at the end, shouted questions at the end, and of course we would note those issues to him. Those issues to him will likely come up. And let's not forget, we do these briefings every day, and a lot of the questions that you all tell me, that's how we brief him as well.
Or, Biden could just come to these briefings and hear the questions directly like previous presidents always did, including his predecessor, Donald Trump. But nope, he's just hiding behind you, having to do his dirty work.
So, look, we do not have specific questions in advance. That's not something that we do. And in fact, I would point out the questions that was asked was different than what was on the card that you all saw.
With this question on the card being so specific, the fact that she didn't ask that question does make me wonder if she may have noticed that he was showing that card, he was holding up in a way that it was being seen by everybody, that she knew this was going to be a problem, so she changed her question so as not to get him or her in trouble.
And look, again, we have these press conferences. The president takes your questions. Our job is to get a sense of what you all want to ask him. That is our job here. Again, we take this very seriously, and we want to make sure that we're providing information that's helpful to you and the American people.
How are the reporters decided?
So the way that we have moved forward with this type of process is that we reach out to a number of reporters who we know are going to be at the press conference, and that's what we did yesterday. And also we try to be really mindful and who has not gotten a question in a while.
Yeah, right. Tell that to Simon Atiba.
Of his administration, why is it hard for you to give me a question?
It is not hard. I've answered. Would you let me answer the question, or are you going? Okay.
You don't give us questions.
Okay. We try to be really mindful and who has not gotten a question in a while. And so, as you know, we could only pick 2 reporters yesterday, so that limits our ability on how many reporters we can call on. So that's usually how we move this process forward.
I'm sorry.
Is it your contention, Karine?
I'm not taking call.
So you can tell this entire room wants to ask more about this question. As you can see, this reporter starts interrupting the previous reporter who interrupted Jackie, who was originally asking, all on the same subject. So things get contentious. Check it out.
I'm not taking call.
That the question
Jackie's
that was
not
on the so-called cheat sheet was
Jackie,
not similar to the question that was asked at the press conference.
Your colleague is not done. Go ahead.
It's a very reasonable question.
No, but I hear you.
Very
Can you wait your turn?
Absolutely.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I really do. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, John.
And just to be clear, to people, skeptics who saw the card and saw the question number 1 and might think that is a signal that it was pre-organized. Did the president have other questions that he was prepared, had similar talking points in case he was asked something on other topics in that same?
Jackie, I'm going to be, as someone who is part of his of the prep briefing with the president for these press conferences, as his press secretary, we talk about an array of topics that could potentially come up, and that's what we do. Just at the end, there was shouted questions, and he took those shouted questions. But we also had a sense that, hey, you might get something on a debt ceiling, which makes a lot of sense, which is one of the news of the day. So we cover an array of topics. It's not just the 2 Americans who asked questions. It was also the 2 South Korean reporters who asked questions.
And I'm sure they were fed the questions in advance, too, and there was probably note cards on them as well.
So we do our best to make sure that the president is ready to communicate with all of you and the American people.
People, skeptics who saw the card and saw the question number 1 and might think that is a signal that it was pre-organized.